What if Regieleki was in Gen 1 OU? Now, as all of you should probably know by now, this little rascal got banned from Gen 9 OU because Terra might be just a little too good. It hits hard, and that's no bueno. But it's not so simple in Gen 1, or I guess it kind of is with its moveset. You can't Terra, so you don't have as much coverage, but also weirdly enough, like, even though you don't have coverage and you basically suffer from the same, problems, your normal moves, especially 2 in particular, are way better in, like, Gen 1. So strangely, it becomes, like, actual good coverage instead of coverage you just use just because you feel like you have to. Yeah, so we'll just get into it. Actually, let's start with the stats first. Obviously, base 50 HP, not the best. 80, I would say it's pretty decent, especially for like how frail they try to make this thing. Base 100 attack is like the same as Tauros, so pretty good, but you don't have like stab, which is unfortunate. You don't have to worry about that special defense because you have base 100 special, which is already pretty decent, but adding it to the bulk just makes it even better. And good golly, that speed. I do not know what your crit rate is, but it has to be like, it's well over 1 in a 4 chance. Like, if just regular Aerodactyl is like a 25% chance to crit, I don't even want to know like how good his crit rate is. But I'm kind of curious. Like, if any of you guys know how to calc that, like, let me know in the comments. I will like heart that, and I'm just curious to see how consistent his crits are. Now, what moves would he have? Obviously, even modern day, his move pool is pretty shallow by modern Pokemon standards. But he has some good stuff like agility, which, hot take, might not be that like needed. But good golly, explosion. Explosion on base 100 Pokemon, but more importantly, the explosion on a Pokemon with such a high crit rate. That alone is a massive game changer. Like, it's actually insane how much that changes stuff. Like, just having a fast explosion that you can't really do anything against other than like Gengar and like Rhydon is, yeah, you might say a big deal. It has both light screen and reflect, which I didn't bother testing. That I tested with substitute, but those can also be pretty good. Reflect might be a moot point because the physical things it goes up against are like what, like, I guess like, no, like, it would probably take a lot of damage from like Tauros' Earthquake still, same with Snorlax's, and it still can't really touch like Rhydon. Probably not worth it. Light Screen might be worth it, but I'm not sure. Most of the good special walls also have Thunder Wave, so it kind of gets crippled either way. But here we have Thunderbolt and Thunder. Obviously, Thunderbolt will be much better. But still, that's going to be your main source of damage. It's stab electric, and you crit like all the time, basically. Oh, I didn't even realize that body slam. I guess that's also good. Didn't do any testing with it, but I think that's fine. Obviously Thunder Wave, because why wouldn't you use Thunder Wave? And then Hyper Beam. Honestly, there probably are some arguments to use Body Slam over Hyper Beam, but like, you don't really have normal stab, and I feel with how like fast you are with crits, or how fast you are increasing crits, that can like, I feel like that alone could probably give you like that's like enough for an argument where you can maybe try to justify using it over like a more consistent normal move. Not to mention like even if like Hyper Beam doesn't work, you probably won't use it that much. You'll probably maybe just use Thunder Wave, Explosion, and Thunderbolt. And Explosion probably will kill most of the stuff that like you're worried about, at least because of the special side. And 100% with the crit. Like, I'm pretty sure a crit a crit Explosion just like murders, like, it might murder literally everything other than like Rhydon and Gengar. And especially if, since you're so fast, you manage to get some chip damage in first, like a Thunderbolt or something. Even like, yeah, even more reason to say that, like, you know, Regieleki just murders everything when it goes boom boom. So yeah, like some 7 Gen 1, like, I'm not even gonna bother showing you all the water types. Swirlbro, Cloyster, Starmie. It's just a massacre. You just destroy them. They are not staying in on that. And there's also Rhydon, which I also won't bother showing. Believe it or not, the ground rock type can handle your normal and electric moves pretty easily. But the rest of these are pretty interesting. Because like obviously you hit hard when you crit. A lot of the special walls don't really care if you don't. And all of the special walls pretty much also have Thunder Wave, which also kind of cripples you. But also you can still like crit, you know? And you're still like, a good electric type. Hot take, but I don't think Regieleki will be balanced in Gen 1 underuse. But that's just me. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. Also, what happened to get Hypno Banned? Like, I get Lapras. Like, that was probably you good. But like, wasn't Hypno like in underuse for years? What caused it to become like so broken? If someone could explain that too, I'd really appreciate it. But we'll just get on to the replays now. Because there probably isn't that much to talk about. You already know Regieleki's strengths and weaknesses. It's fast. I guess this stuff is ability, so it doesn't hit as hard with electric moves as you would like want it to. That's unfortunate. But like, I still think it's I think it's a decent trade-off, where in turn you're having much better normal moves. Okay, let's look at some of these replays. Here we have Tauros. Obviously a critical earthquake just like one-shots you, but if it doesn't, it does like most of your health. And then explosion just murders. And personally, I would argue that trading your why did I forget its name? Regieleki for Tauros, I think that's great. Not having to use your own Tauros against Tauros is like pretty good. Snorlax, it can go either way, I guess. Like without like Thunderbolt, like you're not doing like as much as you would hope for. And then Explosion doesn't really like finish you off either. Amnesia Wax, obviously that's good if like Snorlax has rest. Or I guess with this case specifically, you can easily revenge kill. But other than that, like it can go either way, I would argue. Like that probably was the damage range that Snorlax survived. Obviously Regieleki could have crit more. Yeah. So like, not the worst thing in the world. Like, I don't know if inconsistent is the right word, but I mean, there's some Pokemon that have way worse matchups against Snorlax. Let's just say that. Chansey, as you might suspect, even with a crit, it doesn't do that much. You get paralyzed, and there's not really much you can do. Like, yeah, you can kill with, like, you know, Explosion. Which, Regieleki for a Chansey, I would argue is probably a good trade. But still not the best thing in the world. Not to mention, like, and like this, like a lot of these replays are like always in a vacuum, you know. And in reality, like after like you paralyze the Regieleki, you probably just switch to Rhydon or something. If you stay in it at all, because Regieleki just can't touch Rhydon. So, yeah, like I would argue it's probably more so a bad matchup, even if you're able to kill it. With a lot of them, like with a lot of Regieleki's bad matchups, if it gets crit Explosion, it can kill them easily. But also, you're still sacrificing Regieleki in those matchups, you know? And you only have one Regieleki, so it's not like you can just depend on exploding all of them. And I was curious, see how much a critical Hyper Beam does. Doesn't one-shot. However, I would argue that, like if the chances are taking chip damage, I 100% think it is worth going into or giving it a try. So, not the worst in the world, but I'd still argue a bad matchup. Like, otherwise, because if you don't get a crit, you're just screwed. Speaking of being screwed, this surprised me. Obviously, Alakazam can just, like, paralyze you back. Without a crit, you only do, like, a fourth. And then Psychic one-shots you. Definitely not what I was expecting. Not at all. And I tried doing some Mark replays, and even, like, it doesn't, like, you can't hurt it that much anyways. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting, like, Alakazam to be, like, one of the main walls, but it is. And to no one's surprise, Exeggutor is pretty good. I didn't bother showing you, like, Exeggutor putting the sweep, and then filling the crit with, like, Hyper Beam or whatnot. Just wanted to show how much Explosion does without a crit. And it does most of Exeggutor's health, but yeah. It's so undesirable, you probably don't want your Regieleki to be out against the Exeggutor. But also, this is the worst thing in the world. Like, sacrificing your Regieleki at that moment to gain momentum and easily revenge kill the Exeggutor, it could be pretty good. But the actual individual matchup itself, not so good. And Jolteon. This one is weird. They can't really hurt each other. Or like Regieleki can with those like strong normal moves. But like, I'm not sure if it's worth it to like kill it if it means getting paralyzed. But just going the right on. But I guess it's not like the worst in the world, and like, while both of you are going to end up paralyzed, Regieleki has way more options of hurting Jolteon than Jolteon does hurting it. At most, it can like critical hit with Thunderbolts or like double kick, I guess. Alright, it's that time of the video where that refreshes, but whatever. Now Gengar, you get paralyzed. You can't really paralyze it back. And you have Hypnosis, which is nice. But relying on Hypnosis kind of sucks. And a crit like 2-shots you. And Explosion doesn't even like fully kill, but it mostly kills, so that's sort of good. But Regieleki is definitely in the more favorable position there. Especially when more Paralysis luck or just like Hypnosis misses. So yeah, sucks to be Gengar. It really does. And then Jinx, I don't know if this is surprising or not, but yeah, obviously Jinx is the better-ish matchup. You can't one-shot without a crit. I think using Explosion to take out Jinx is silly. And then like Psychic just like 3-hit KOs you, and then 2-hit kills you with like a crit. So yeah, not one of the ones I expected to be a Regieleki wall, but I guess it makes sense. So this is kind of why, even though like there's a lot of ones that start with Starmie, or like a lot of leads in Gen 1 OU, or I think it might still be worth it, because like, you threaten Starmie so much. But yeah, Jinx not so good. Jinx is annoying, which I don't think anyone's denying that. But with how Level Kiss, or with how low accurate Level Kiss is, you still have like a decent chance. And then last but not least, it's Zapdos. You can Thunder Wave it. It can Thunder Wave you back. And then its Thunderbolts hurt more than yours. And obviously with crits, it does like half your health surprisingly. And then like, yeah, like, really unfortunate. But obviously you still kill with Explosion, which might be worth it. And also as you can see here, without crits, Regieleki doesn't do as much as you would like hope it would do. Like, doesn't hit as hard as like, you know, like in like Gen 8 or Gen 9. So you're kind of reliant on Explosion, which on one hand, yeah, you are guaranteeing a kill. But on the other, you're losing out on your electric type. Maybe you can use multiple electric types like Regieleki and Zapdos, but then that just means your team gets walled by Rhydon more. And also, is it worth just having like 2 electric types and one of them's just going to be Explosion fodder? Like, it's weird. And here is my viability for how it does against the different matchups in Gen 1. Once it loads, yeah. Okay, so obviously, all of the water types are just free XP. You take them out like super easily. Tauros, Gengar, and Jolteon can threaten it, but for the most part, you are in a much favorable position, and I argue that none of them really want to stay in on you, because they probably don't want to risk it. Like Tauros can one-shot you, Jolteon can paralyze you, and he's probably the main one who will might likely stay in. And then Gengar might, but also like relying on Hypnosis could be kind of whack. So yeah, like you mostly have a better and more favorable position against them, which is good. Snorlax, like I said, can go either way. This depends on the set and how much damage like he does, and how lucky you are with your crits. And a surprisingly high amount of bad matchups. Granted, with literally all of these, you just one-shot with Explosion. So, even though there's like a lot of bad matchups, it's, in reality, like, Executor and Chansey would probably stay in bad matchups. But if I don't feel like making it, but let's just pretend like Zapdos, Jinx, and Alakazam are like in a sub-tier between Kukui either way in bad matchups. That's kind of where they would be. And to no one's surprise, Rhydon is unwinnable. Definitely Regieleki stays in OU, and it does have legitimate niche that neither Jolteon or Zapdos can fulfill. But it'll probably be better than Jolteon, but I do not see it surpassing Zapdos as the best electric type in the game. And its Explosion is good, but being one or too over-reliant on it means that your opponent can easily play around it by trying to force the Explosion as soon as possible. And even though they might lose something, they might just have something even better. Like, forcing Regileki to explode early and then sending out their water types. And if Regieleki's your only electric type, yeah, like, definitely problems. It's not an auto-occlude that just helps you win games. You need to, like, actually be good with it, sort of like a Mega Aerodactyl. But in the right hands, it will be pretty good, and will win you a lot of games. But what do you think? Am I, like, underestimating it? Would other moves, like I said, it has, like, Light Screen, Reflect, and Body Slam be more of a game changer that I just didn't look into? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.